I always thought parties were harmless distractions, a way to unwind with friends, laugh and make memories. My name is Ethan and I've been married to Olivia for 10 years. This night was supposed to be one of those harmless evenings. A dinner party hosted by mutual friends, a chance to reconnect with people we hadn't seen in months. Olivia had been unusually quiet all week, distracted by her phone, lost in thought, and evasive when I asked simple questions. I brushed it off at first. Everyone has stressful weeks, right? But a subtle unease had been gnawing at me, a faint suspicion I tried to ignore. The party started like any other. Laughter, music, drinks, and casual conversations filled the room. I noticed Olivia laughing a little too brightly at certain jokes, lingering just a bit too long near one particular guest. A familiar pit formed in my stomach, but I forced myself to remain calm. I didn't want to jump to conclusions without proof. As the night progressed, I observed her movements, her subtle glances, her frequent whispering with a man named Brandon, someone I barely knew but had an immediate sense of unease about. Every time she stepped aside to speak with him, I caught a fleeting glance that spoke more than words ever could. Her smiles, her gestures, the slight touch on his arm, it all clicked. Something was wrong. I didn't confront her immediately. I stayed composed, sipping my drink, engaging with other guests, all while piecing together the uncomfortable puzzle forming before me. The betrayal wasn't blatant yet, but the signs were unmistakable. Then it happened. She leaned into Brandon, whispered something and without warning, slipped her hand into his. My heart sank. I felt a cold shock pass through me. This was no longer subtle. This was deliberate. My stomach twisted, but my face remained calm. I didn't yell, I didn't move. I let her make the choice and she did. Minutes later, she excused herself, laughing lightly, heading toward the exit, hand in hand with him. The moment stretched into an eternity. I could hear the faint echo of her laughter as they disappeared down the hallway. Everyone around me remained oblivious, engaged in small talk, unaware of the life-altering betrayal unfolding in front of them. I stayed behind for a moment, letting the weight of the situation sink in. This wasn't just about a fleeting indiscretion. It was the culmination of months of hidden calls, late nights, and excuses that had slowly eroded the foundation of our marriage. And in that quiet, heart-wrenching moment, I made a choice. I would not react with anger or desperation. I would react with clarity, decisiveness, and reclaim the power she had tried to take from me. That I watched them disappear from the party, my mind racing but my face calm. I knew this moment required precision, not emotion. Shouting or pleading would only give her the satisfaction of seeing me unravel. No, I had to stay in control, collect my thoughts and plan my response carefully. I stepped outside, letting the cool night air hit my face. My heart was pounding, but each breath reminded me to stay composed. Betrayal isn't just about discovering the act, it's about how you choose to respond. And I was determined to respond with clarity, not chaos. I followed discreetly, keeping a safe distance, watching as Olivia and Brandon entered a taxi. Every laugh she gave, every casual touch she offered, solidified what I had feared. She had chosen to cross a line that could never be uncrossed. Back at home, I started piecing together the timeline, reflecting on the signs I had missed. The sudden interest in her appearance, the secretive text messages, the excuses for late nights at work or friends' houses. Everything aligned, and it all pointed to one undeniable truth: our marriage had been compromised. I knew confrontation alone wasn't enough. This needed resolution, legal clarity, and emotional closure. I prepared the documents that would formalize the end of this chapter. Divorce papers, evidence of her actions, and a clear declaration that my life was no longer intertwined with hers. Hours later, I received a call from a friend at the party, a quiet confirmation that they had stayed at a hotel together. I didn't feel rage, I felt a sharp clarity. This wasn't about revenge in the impulsive sense, it was about reclaiming my dignity in life. The next morning I drove to the hotel. Every step was deliberate. Every moment a reminder that I was choosing composure over chaos, decisiveness over emotion. I checked in at the front desk calmly, and when I asked for the room, the clerk's eyes widened slightly at my determination. When Olivia saw me enter the room, her confident smile faltered. She opened her mouth, trying to explain, to justify, but I let her words die in the air. The envelope in my hand, the divorce papers, spoke louder than any argument could. Olivia, I said steadily, you lied, deceived, and betrayed me. Tonight confirms what I've known for months. This is over. Her eyes widened, the realization hitting her fully. I didn't need to raise my voice. The room, the papers, and my unwavering calm conveyed everything. Betrayal had been met with precision, and control had returned to me. Olivia's eyes widened as the weight of the situation finally sank in. Her confident smirk, the casual gestures, all of it vanished in a single instant. I didn't raise my voice, I didn't shout. I simply let the divorce papers rest on the table between us. The silence spoke volumes. I didn't think you'd find out, she stammered, her voice trembling. I met her gaze steadily. It wasn't about thinking, Olivia. It's about noticing. It's about seeing the truth and choosing not to ignore it. You've made your choices and now it's time to face the consequences. Her companion shifted uneasily, clearly realizing the gravity of the moment. He opened his mouth to speak, but I held up a hand, a simple gesture that said everything. This wasn't a confrontation to escalate further. It was a lesson in accountability delivered calmly, decisively, and without malice. I left the hotel room then, letting them linger in the aftermath of their own decisions. Every step I took back to my car felt lighter than the one before. The anger, the heartbreak, the shock, they were all still there, yes, but they no longer controlled me. Control was mine again, reclaimed through clarity, not chaos. Back at home, I organized my thoughts, reflecting on the events of the last 24 hours. I realized that betrayal is not just about discovering an affair. It's about recognizing patterns, the erosion of trust, and the subtle, consistent disregard for the relationship. Olivia's choices were hers alone, but my reaction defined me. Over the next few days, I took measured steps to rebuild. Friends became my anchors, routines offered stability, and small personal victories reminded me that life doesn't end because someone else failed to respect it. The divorce papers weren't just legal, they were symbolic of boundaries that would never again be crossed. I didn't seek revenge. I didn't feel the need to humiliate or punish. The satisfaction came from reclaiming my peace, my dignity, and my future. The betrayal had been real, but my response was even stronger, calm, precise, and unwavering. Weeks later, I learned that Olivia and her companion had returned to their routine, but it no longer affected me. The laughter, the secrets, the manipulations, they existed in a chapter one had closed. My life had returned to me, untouched by deceit, defined by my own choices. That night, I sat on my balcony, the city lights twinkling below. A deep sense of serenity washed over me. I had been betrayed, yes, but I had met it not with chaos but with composure. I had chosen clarity over emotion, dignity over anger, and control over despair. And in that quiet moment, I understood something profound. The true victory isn't exposing betrayal or punishing deceit, it's reclaiming yourself. Fully, completely, without compromise. For the first time in months I felt free. Truly free.